My parents turned every Christmas into a funeral for my dead sister, and my husband caught them in a lie they could never weasel out of. My earliest memories of December feel wrong in a way I didn't understand until I was older. There was no tree, no lights, no wrapping paper, just silence and my mother's red-rimmed eyes and my father tiptoeing around her like the whole month was made of glass. When I was 5, I asked my mom why we didn't celebrate Christmas like other kids, and she grabbed my shoulders hard enough that I still remember the pressure of her fingers digging in. Your sister died before you were born, and I need you to stop making December harder than it already is. I didn't know what I had done wrong, but I knew I had hurt her somehow, so I stopped. When I was 6, we made Christmas lists at school, and my dad threw mine in the trash without reading a word. I fished it out after he went to bed and hid it under my mattress like contraband. At 8, I reminded my mom it was my birthday, and she said I know, without looking up from the dishes. At 10, I won a stuffed reindeer at a school carnival, and my mom burst into tears demanding to know why I was always trying to hurt her. So I threw it in the dumpster behind our building and never brought anything home again. I started telling friends my birthday was in June because explaining the truth was exhausting. At 12, I begged my dad for a cake, just a small one, and he squeezed my shoulder and said, "You know I can't do that to your mother." At 16, I snuck out to a friend's Christmas party, and my mom didn't speak to me for a week before finally breaking silence to call me the most selfish person she had ever raised. At 18, I moved out and stopped coming home for holidays entirely. My parents never called me on my birthday, not once in 10 years. I met my husband 3 years ago, and he noticed pretty quickly that something happened to me every December. I would shrink and flinch whenever he mentioned Christmas plans or birthday celebrations. He started asking questions, and I finally told him everything. And every year since then, I've watched him get angrier as December approaches, and my parents don't call. This year, he snapped. He looked at me on the morning of my birthday and said, "We're going over there today, and they are going to acknowledge your birthday if I have to drag the words out of their throats." I told him it wasn't worth it, that they were never going to change, that I had made peace with who they were. He was already grabbing his keys. My parents went pale when they opened the door. My mom tried to say it wasn't a good time, and my husband walked right past her. We ended up at the dinner table pushing around lukewarm casserole until my husband set his fork down and said, "You know what today is, right?" My dad sighed like he was so tired of having this conversation. "December is hard for us. She understands." My husband nodded slowly, then asked when exactly my sister had died, and my mom's face tightened. "We're not talking about this." My husband said that was fine because he'd already talked to my grandmother anyway. "Your mother told her the baby was born in April and died in July. Never saw a single December in her life. Nobody moved." My mom recovered first. Something about grief not following a calendar, but I was staring at her and seeing every stolen Christmas in a completely different light. I finally spoke up and asked my mom what July had to do with December. Her eyes went cold. "You don't get to talk about her." My husband leaned forward and said, "Then what are you hiding?" My dad tried to calm everyone down, but my mom cut him off. "This is your fault. You should have let me get rid of her like I wanted." Her finger was aimed at me, but she was looking straight at my father. The laugh that came out of me didn't sound like my own voice. I looked at my husband to make sure I'd heard that right, then at my dad, waiting for him to say something, anything. He turned on my mom instead. I only said no because I felt guilty. We'd already gotten rid of one, and I couldn't do it again. That's the only reason she's here. I heard myself say, "What do you mean you already got rid of one?" But nobody answered me. I couldn't feel my hands when I asked, "There was never a baby, was there?" "You didn't lose her. She was never born." My mom's whole body sagged. My family knew I was pregnant. They expected a grandchild. I had to tell them something when I came home empty-handed. I had one final question. "Did you ever want me at all?" My mom looked at me like I was something she had stepped in. I wasn't ready, either time. "You think I wanted this life?" I grabbed my husband's hand and walked out with my free hand raised in a gesture my mother would have called unladylike.